Hey y'all, it's Amanda with Tap Mom in the Bake Brigade. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday night. Oh, what a day. I'd like to tell you that I did something constructive today, but I hadn't really done much today. Watched a lot of TV, and I started on, I think what mainly took a lot of time was using this 1X top to, decide how many inches across that is, and if I want to, give a little positive ease, a little extra on each side, as far as, one's top, and then figuring out the stitch I want to use, to make it mesh-like, and then figuring out the stitch count, how many stitches do I need to do this and have it even on both sides and not be not even on it. Because I'm sort of designing this one as I go too, but I did want to be a bit more accurate, because it's, because it's not a gift, it's something I got paid to do. So anyway, he might get another one later in the year. Well, later he'll get something else later this month, probably for his birthday, but I don't remember exactly what day it is, but I know that I believe it's this month. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his birthday's this month, so I'll figure out something for that. Don't know yet. Kind of got my hands full a little bit, but we did talk about oh, and just an update, Theodore is doing fine. He's eating good. He seems very happy and back to his old self, so there's that. Oh, and my glasses are dirty again, and I can't see myself clearly when I take them off. I know y'all never see me without glasses, but they get so dirty so easily, and I'm all half the day cleaning my daggum glasses. But see, now I can see clearly, but without them everything is blurry. I can make out certain things. I mean, I can, in the middle of the night when I get up to go to the bathroom, I don't throw my glasses on to walk. I can do that, and come back and I'm fine. But as far as reading anything or making out what's on my phone screen, no. Can't do that. Too blurry. But recently I mentioned about my paintings that I had done when I talked about all the different craft and creative things I've done over the years. I did find one mosaic item that I held on to, and then my paintings, I dug them out. I thought I was going to need Johnny's help, but turned out I didn't. But let me show you the mosaic thing that I found. This is the only piece I kept, but it is a picture frame. I originally got the picture frame from Goodwill, which is of course like a thrift store. I don't know how many of y'all have Goodwills in your area, but it's a thrift store where people donate things, and then they sell the items that are donated, and put that money towards helping people that need help. But I like going in there. You can find some really nice stuff in Goodwill. And so I found this picture frame when I was, because I did a lot of repurposing of things when I was doing mosaic. I would buy like little shelves, the little wooden shelves, and picture frames like this, and just odd and end things that I could glue, do my mosaic thing. So this is a picture frame I did. It's got a little stand back here, and but this is the picture frame. And yeah, this is like a tiger's eye kind of. I'll go closer so y'all can see. This is like a tiger's eye kind of tile. It's just tile, and then here's a kind of a mixture. I felt like these two went well together. The white tile has like little gold running through it, and so it's really nice. But it's just big enough to put a small, or like a 5x7 in here, and that's about all the size it is. But I think I'm going to go to Walmart or someplace where I can print a picture from my phone and put a picture of Axel in here, and then display it somewhere. I don't want to display it on top of my cubes because this is really heavy. These tiles really, they weigh things down. I wouldn't even feel safe mailing this because of the weight. It would cost more than it's worth, honestly. But I'm going to keep that because that's a good memory for me. I enjoyed doing mosaic, except for when I cut my fingers. So then I switched to painting, which only made my fingers messy. And now, of course, crochet, which I don't get anything on my fingers. So, you know, it's just a transition type deal. But I have several paintings here that I kept. I only kept the ones that I really liked. The ones that I was meh about, I threw away. So, and you know, as well as anybody, we are our own worst critic. Anyway, I burnt my tongue on some coffee this morning, and now I'm just thirsty. It's a little bit better than when I first did it, but when I first did it, I spewed coffee when it touched my tongue, and it was so hot. I was like, and I spit it out. Mess. All right. So these two paintings, let's see. Oh, okay. I did these in 2018. Okay. I wrote the year on the back of them. Some of them I have that on the back, and some I don't. But these are kind of, well, they're not exactly matching. They're very similar. These could be done at a, you know, used for decoration in a bathroom or something like that. But what I did is I did these colors, some different colors in the background, and then I lightly painted over it with white, and then I put these gold trees on there. So, yeah. So that's what these are. And these are, I don't remember the measurement. Where's my, hold on, I'll measure it for you. I got a handy dandy measuring tape here. See, that is, looks right at 10 by what? 10 by what? 8, they're 8 by 10s. Okay, they're 8 by 10s. That's what these are. They're 8 by 10s. And so is this next one. Now, I can't wear high-heel shoes. I've always admired beautiful high-heeled shoes. I love to look at them. I like to see pretty ladies wearing them. But I'm completely flat-footed. I have no arches. My feet are flat with the floor. So trying to wear high-heel shoes when I was younger was excruciating. When I was like 16, I had these high-heeled boots that somehow I wore all over the place. And I guess because I was young, it didn't bother me as much. But the older I got, the less I cared about wearing those things. Because I ain't trying to get fancy for nobody, you know what I mean? But I did paint a high heel shoe, because one of the shoes the brands that I like to look at, not wear, but look at, have the red sole on them. I think it's called Jimmy Choo or something like that. Don't ask me. I am not a fashionista. I just know that I seen them on TV and thought they were really cool. So I made this one. So, yeah. And so this is just something that popped in my head, and this is how I decided to express it. So this would be a high heel shoe with the red underneath, you know. And so, yeah. I had planned originally to make a pair of them like I did with the little trees, but I just never did. But yeah. And this next one is just some roses that I modeled this after English roses, not your typical roses that we have here in the States, but the English ones. And so I like this one. So I just kept going with these to give them some depth, you know, so they would really, you know, pop. And so does it say? It looks like 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah, okay. So that's that one. And see, here's a more abstract one. I have also a fascination with eyes. So I painted eyes a lot. So here's one. And so it's a little out there. But I kept it because it was unique, and I've never seen anything like it. So yeah, this is just because I like eyes, and green eyes and blue eyes specifically. So, and this next one is also an eye one, and this one ended up named The Eyes Have It. And I drew this out first and then painted it. And so, wait a minute, that's upside down. No, it's not. Okay, sorry. I modeled this one after like the Egyptian eyes, you know. But yeah, of course this is sleep deprived, just a little sleepy, red and ready. Anyway, I like this one too. I enjoy doing this one, and I still like this one. So there's that one, and here's one of the two of the this one and one more is the last two I did, and I don't have a year on this one, but I'm thinking 2020, I think. And this is just a cityscape, and I did a combination of acrylic paint and those pastels, you know, that come in little like crayon looking things, and I used the pastels to kind of do some shading and that sort of thing. But yeah, and so I like this one too. I like the colors of this one, and I'll just move a little closer, y'all can see some more detail. But yeah, there's that one. And this one is from when I really first started, and it still is my favorite. My absolute favorite. Why? Because it's a beach, and I like the beach very much. So here's this one, and y'all probably seen this one as part of my wallpaper on the channel page. So this is the actual painting, and what I did with this one is I spray painted the canvas first with, you know, the pink and the yellow and the blue. I painted that with spray paint first, and then I did the rest of this on here. I did the brown at the bottom to kind of simulate ground, you know, but it's meant to be like a silhouette, like a sunset type deal. So yeah, I really like this one because, you know, palm trees are not perfect, so I never made a palm tree that was perfect because they are not. They're just naturally grown, and they, you know, they're not straight. They're not, you know, I've seen them leaning and what have you. I think I modeled that after a picture I saw, which is how I did a lot of things. That's where I got a lot of my inspiration. If I had a subject matter in my mind, I would just Google pictures of that subject matter in my mind, and then I would take, you know, and save those pictures that really, you know, spoke to me, and then I would incorporate that into a painting. So that's how I did things. And this is kind of like an abstract peacock. So it's kind of done in, I'll just show it to you. Anyway, this is it. So I like peacocks because all the different turquoises and greens and gold. I like all that. So yeah, this is a peacock. And this next one is very abstract. I did a lot of abstract, but so this is to symbolize New Orleans, and this is chaos around it. So New Orleans and chaos. And I did not put when I did this one. I don't remember which. I think probably 2020 or 2021, something like that. But yeah, New Orleans and chaos. And this next one is one of the last ones I did too, and I just call it Blue Horse. So yeah, and you got some gold through the mane here, and then some gold here, and I think the eye has kind of some depth to it, in the nose a bit. I'd worked hard on the nose and the eye because I wanted them to really, you know, pop. And then I used some texturing stuff, putty. I can't remember the name of it, but I used some texturing stuff that you can put on the canvas to give it texture. And so I did that, and then I painted it. So yeah, there's I forget the name of it. It just eludes me, but it's stuff that I used a lot on paintings that I wanted to have texture to them. This next one especially, this one is called Wounded, and it was something I saw in the news just really upset me, and I said, well, you know, because it involved racism, which really angers me, and I was always taught and believed that, you know, the color of someone's skin has nothing to do with their personality or whether I should love them or not. So I'd seen something where, I think it was up north, I want to say George Floyd or something like that, where he was beaten to death by racist policemen, and it upset me so much. But you know, I'm down here. I don't have any power to do anything to rectify that situation. All I had in a means to express my feelings was paint. And so I said, well, what if we all bled black instead of red? Would that make people look and notice things better? Would you know, how would they feel if we all bled black instead of red? So that's why this one is called Wounded. And so this is a wound that's been stitched. So, and it's got the texture to it. And of course it's in my second favorite color, which is red, bright red. And so yeah, this is Wounded. I didn't name all my paintings, but just a handful. Just a handful I named. And this is another cityscape. And so this is kind of course, I abstract a little bit, but you got the shadow of the buildings on the water, and this one kind of got stuck to something else, and it's got a little mistake right there, because if you don't store them where the humidity's perfect, they do tend to stick to ones that they're laying next to. But this is just a bigger version of the little one, and a different take on it. And this next one is one of my first, actually. And this let's see if I put a year on it. No, but I'm thinking it's 2016 or 17. But this one I did in memory of my grandmother. She liked pansy flowers, and I believe she liked red ones. Well, she liked all the colors of the pansy flower, but that's what this is. And so I just did different shades of green for just kind of a garden look, and then I painted this big flower. I guess it could be called it could resemble a poppy flower, but to me it was a pansy flower. And so yeah, and then this one, and that's all of the ones I kept. And I'll run right back through them. There's this one. And this one. And this one. I just kept the ones I thought were the best. And this one. And this one. This one don't ever leave me. I love this one. And then there's this one. This is, I think, maybe my second favorite. Yeah. And the eyes have it. Oh, and I see you. And roses. The ever-loving shoe. I don't have a time on, I think this was probably 2019 maybe. I'm not sure. I should have put years on the back of them so that I know. And then these. So, that is, goodness, my throat. But that is, those are my paintings that I kept. There's only a couple that there's only about 2 or 3 that I would not sell. But I would, sell the rest of them if I had someone that offered me a price on them. But they're more. I kept them for more so to let myself know what I used to could do. Now I did when we moved back in here. When we moved in here from the place we used to live, it'd be 2 years tomorrow. Next month, it'd be 2 years in July. When we first moved in here, I was already crocheting, but I wanted to see if I could still paint. And the love for, I still love the paintings that I kept, but the love for painting and my desire to do it, my urge to do it left me. I don't know what else how else to explain it, but it just, the desire to do it, not necessarily the talent to do it, but just my desire and passion for it just left me, because I hate crochet now, and I guess I'm just a one craft at a time kind of girl. I don't know what else to say about that, but that's just how it ended up. So I just, kept what was, sentimental and what, I thought maybe I could gift at some point. And then I sold my painting supplies to a lady and her granddaughter for a very deep discount. Because it took up a lot of room. I had like a big tote full of little bottles of paint, and then I had a few packages of canvases and brushes, and some new brushes, some well-used brushes. And then I used a clear coat stuff to coat over the painting so that they would stay good, dust free, where you could just wipe off the dust if they get dusty. I put clear coat stuff on them to protect them. But anyway, so that's what I did. But I did it, let's see, I'm trying to remember when I started doing it. I did it for a few years. So, from, I think I started in 2015 or 16, I can't remember. Because I was trying to, I know it was after I left AT&T in 2013. So it was either 2014 or 15, somewhere in there is when I started. And so I did get better. I mean, these are, some of the later ones. But when I first started, it was a hot mess. It's one of those things that you really have to work at, you really have to practice at, and learn what you, like I did one out of oil paint, and then I discovered that oil paint takes like forever to dry. Forever. And then even when it looks dry, it's not dry. So, and then it gums up the brushes too, the oil paint. You had to have, I guess, special brushes where it's easier to clean, or some special stuff to clean them. But I decided oil paint was not for me, that I would just use acrylic because it dries really quick and it's non-toxic, and it's just easier to work with for me. Because you can always add more paint when it's acrylic, but when you do oil painting, it just turns into a hot mess. So, and if you're not trained to do it, and I was of course doing this off the cuff like I do everything. But with acrylic, you can, if you make a big mistake, you could just pick a dark color, repaint the whole canvas, and start over again. But you can't do that with oil paintings. So, and I did do that a few times. If I started something and I didn't like it, I would just cover it with a dark color and start all over again on that canvas. So, but I'll always treasure my time painting, because it took me outside of myself, and really saw me through a very dark time in my life, that I needed to drown myself in something to keep me from mentally drowning. Depression is really, really terrible, and I went a lot of years unmedicated and mentally struggling. I can only assume that I got through the things that I've gotten through by the grace of God, because how I went so many years without being diagnosed bipolar, and the depression that I dealt with for so many years. I used to wear only black all the time because I was so sad. And then I don't remember when I turned the corner, but at some point I said, you know what, I'm not that sad anymore. Let's introduce color to my wardrobe. So I started wearing, I think it was when I still lived back in Arkansas, and some lady had given me a pair of athletic pants that they were blue with a pink stripe going down the side. And I was like, well, I need a top to go with these. I didn't have a top, so I bought a pink top to go with it. And all my coworkers were like, you're wearing color. And they were like, you look so cute in pink. And I was like, really? So I just decided to add color and start wearing brighter colors and things besides black. And so it took, a lot of people telling me that, because the whole day, the first time I wore it, they were like, oh, wow, you look so great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. You don't know, things about yourself sometimes until, you're your worst critic. So, it takes hearing it from more than one person that has nothing to gain by telling you that, for you to realize that. And I think if I didn't have this channel, and I didn't have the wonderful people that are subscribed to me, I don't think I'd have the confidence to do the things I do and make the things I make, and just venture out and make tops from scratch, with just the things I've learned from tutorials and not a pattern. People are shocked that I just come out of nowhere with something without looking at a pattern. I can only just take pictures out of my head and make what's in my head, and that's essentially what I do when I decide to just make something off the cuff. It's because I saw a picture in my head first, and so I may not have a complete, have it completely worked out in my head what I'm going to do beforehand. I just start, and then if I need to change up things, I frog it back or switch it up until it works. I don't like to give up on projects. I didn't do that when I was painting. If I got frustrated with something and it wasn't coming out like I needed it to come out, I would just put that one aside and pick up a new canvas and work on something different until the picture in my head started making sense and I could get back to the one I was working on. But it was nothing for me to sit and paint all day long and just paint a little bit on this canvas, get a new one, and paint some on that one, and just back. I think I did the most I did in one day was 10, and I was just slinging paint, just anything to get outside of myself to deal with what I was dealing with. Because after I had to have a full hysterectomy when I was 38 due to cancer. That type of cancer runs in my family, and so what had happened was I went probably about a year without having a cycle, and then all of a sudden it was in 2011, and then all of a sudden I was sitting on the couch one night and I felt this, just a real hard cramp, and then something heavy, and I went to the bathroom and I just started passing blood clots, and I was freaked out. So the next day I went to the ER. And I was still, every time I moved, passing a big blood clot, boom, boom. And so I went to the ER, and they did some tests and what have you. And they said, your reproductive organs are failing. They're not functioning properly. They said, you're probably going to need a hysterectomy. And so they referred me to an OBGYN. I went to the one that I had been through before that had done some other stuff. And he said, yes, you need a hysterectomy. He did a biopsy, but the biopsy he did was not the correct one. He biopsied my cervix. And so, and then he was going to do the hysterectomy, but he wanted like $700 or $800 up front to do it. And I didn't have that kind of money. So some friends of mine told me, no, go over to LSU and start over. And so I went to LSU to the women's clinic. I did a walk-in, and told them about my test results. I signed a little release so they could get all my records from the other doctor, and then they set up for me to come back and do a biopsy. Because by the time I got to LSU, I wasn't passing the blood clots anymore. I was just spotting, because I went kind of from the blood clots to spotting, and I was basically on my period for over a year. Waiting on the surgery, and so slowly bleeding to death maybe. Anyway, so there was a little female doctor that redid the biopsy, and when she did it, I barely felt it. She was so gentle. When the older male doctor did it, it was excruciating. So I don't know what she did different, but maybe because she's a younger doctor and she knows more, better techniques, and he was a doctor that had been practicing for 30 years. So, it was a huge difference in their technique and how much pain I was in afterwards. And then several weeks later, when the results came in, it's like they were expecting me to fall apart. And I was because I went by myself, and they were like, you didn't bring anybody with you? And I'm like, no. And so they came in the room, and they had the attending physician, and they had a couple of student doctors, and they were all searching my face looking for emotion. And they said, well, Miss Carter, it's cancer. And I was like, okay, when can you take it out? Because I had been through this with my mother, when she had a very similar experience where she was passing blood clots. And so I had already been through that with her. And then my younger sister had already had a hysterectomy due to something similar. If my grandmother had had a hysterectomy when it happened to her, she probably would have lived longer, because she just had radiation and chemo. And then later on, she had cancer in her lungs. And then when she passed away, she had a tumor in her trach. So she had cancer 4 times. And I really feel strongly that if she would have, when they found that she had, I think it was cervical cancer, or it might have been uterine, I don't know. But it's been a long time. But I really feel strongly if she had just went ahead and let them do the hysterectomy, she probably would have lived a lot longer, because it went to other parts of her body. So, but I wasn't going to let that happen to me. I was prepared for the surgery. I was okay with having it. I had good insurance at the time, and I had family medical leave, FMLA, that I could take from work, and I had insurance, a type of insurance that pays you while you're out, kind of deal. And so financially I knew I'd be okay. I just needed them to go ahead and schedule it. So it took another 2.5 months before the surgery. And so I had the surgery in, I want to say early 2012. Yeah. And so, of course, it took me like 2 weeks to be able to leave the house, because but they did it laparoscopically, so I didn't have the big incision that they used to do on everybody. It was laparoscopic, and so I just had little small incisions all over my stomach, or not in about 4 different places, and they went in my belly button as well. So, but I recovered from it pretty decently, what I really wasn't prepared for is the hormone withdrawal, because I had them take everything. They said, oh, it's only in your uterus. And I'm like, no, because if you don't go ahead and take everything, a year from now, we'll be right back here doing it again. So I just decided to go and have everything taken out. But I wasn't prepared for the hormone withdrawal, and that tight hold over my sanity that I had been holding on and been able to hold on to broke. And so it set a chain of events that really just ended up with me disabled. And because, see, that a couple of years later in 2014, I ended up with lymphedema in both legs, which is, lymphedema is when your lymph nodes that circulate the fluid in your lower extremities, or whichever extremity is affected, is damaged, and they don't circulate fluid like they're supposed to, those lymph nodes. And so you will have swelling in your legs, or some people even get lymphedema in their arms. So your extremities, basically. And when they did my hysterectomy, it damaged some of my lymph nodes. And it just took a fall. I had fallen in a grocery store in 2014, late 2014. And within a month or so, my legs just went, no, it was probably doing it slowly, but I didn't really notice it until, my left leg just looked like the Michelin Man. And I was like, what is going on? And so I went to a doctor, and he said, yeah, you have lymphedema. And so he sent me to some specialists that, I went through all that. And basically it's not curable. It's just something you got to learn how to live with and manage. And so I didn't even get any kind of relief from that until I lost weight. Because I was still close to 400 pounds at that time. Well, no, I didn't get to be that big until probably a few years after my hysterectomy. That was kind of systematic too. But I gained probably 80 pounds after my hysterectomy. And which is, from what I understand, is not uncommon. It happens to a lot of women. And so from 2012 to 2016, my mental health went into the toilet. I was crying at the drop of a hat. I was really manic-y, and I would grow 10 paintings in one day. That was a manic thing that I didn't even know was going on. And so at one point I want to say 2016, I became suicidal. And my mental health professional just said, please go check in at Brentwood. And, just take yourself to Brentwood, and they'll, put you in the hospital and get your medication straight. And so I did. I spent like 4 days in a mental hospital, and got my they diagnosed me properly and got me on medication and put me on a good track to have my mind back, because the hormone withdrawal just kind of triggered a bunch of stuff, and I just became an emotional wreck and just thinking really dark stuff. And not that I hadn't thought those things before, but I had a better control over it before. And afterwards, I just really kind of lost control over my mind, and being able to control my emotions and my actions and that sort of thing. Between the lymphedema and the mental, problems, I ended up disabled. So, but anyway, I don't know if that's information y'all wanted or not, but background details are sometimes helpful in understanding where a person has been, where they're coming from, and how to better relate with that person. Sometimes if you have background information, or if this information may be reaching someone that I'm not aware of that needs to hear these things, and know that whatever situation you're in now is not the situation you're always going to be in. You can always there are ways to improve. There are resources out there to help you get through what you're going through. You just got to reach out and make the first step. Like, I knew I was going through hell mentally, and I was like, I need help. And so I believe my regular doctor did a referral to the psychiatric clinic at LSU. Well, Ochsner, they call them Ochsner now. But so I was referred to the psychiatric clinic, and they had started me on some medications, but they hadn't taken effect yet. So when I called and got the doctor on the phone, I was like, this is what's going on. And he said, okay, go to the hospital. And so that's how that went. And then so I spent time in there, and I made sure when I got out of there that I never went again, because it felt like jail. You couldn't do things, there was things you couldn't do. And I was on blood pressure medicine at the time, and which had a diuretic in it and caused me to have to use the bathroom a lot. And so I had to get permission to go to the bathroom. And, no, I don't like that at all. I'm a grown woman. I should be able to go when I need to go. So I made sure to work on my mental health. I had some in-home counseling for a couple of years, where they came out to my house and sat with me for an hour and just talk to me and give me coping skills and what have you. So I've been through counseling, and that's things that you go through when you need to go through. But when I needed help, I got help. And if you're out there and you need help, there are resources available to you. Just ask your regular doctor, make an appointment with a GP, a general practitioner, and tell them what's going on. They will get you to the right people. But don't give up, and don't do something drastic. Just reach out and get help, because people love you and people want you to stick around. I certainly do. And so if listening to my experience and what happened to me and how I managed to come out of that experience a better person, and a person who has a good grip on their sanity now. Now, that's not to say that I don't have moments of sadness and tears and that sort of thing, but it's always situational, like the loss of my beloved pet Axel, and things like that you can't control how you feel about that. I've tried to keep that grief under wraps, because now that I have such a handle on my mental health, I'm on really good medication. I don't like to cry in front of other people. Sometimes you just can't control it. There's been times I've been on video and I couldn't control it, and I just let it go, because maybe something I said or something I've been through will help somebody else. There may be something that, that just triggers somebody to say, you know what, I think I need to go get help. I need to reach out and find me some help so that I can feel better and get through what I'm going through. So if any of that's true, then I haven't spilled my guts for no reason. You know what I mean? Then I haven't, ripped off a Band-Aid and showed you what's underneath for no good reason. So that's just who I am. I believe in sharing my experiences, good, bad, and then explaining how I came out of that. because, you know, and you're never too far gone that the people that love you won't forgive you. That you do find out who your true friends are and who really loves you when you have problems like that. I was just really fortunate and really blessed to have two fantastic sons, my oldest being, you know, the one that stayed working. It took extra hours and shared his paychecks with John and I while I was trying to get my disability. It took me 5 years to get my disability, and Will helped support the household that whole time. And he gave up a lot of himself and a lot of things that he could have been doing, you know, as a young man, and things he could have been doing to make himself happy, and, you know, progress in his goals in life, you know, and that sort of thing. But he put that stuff aside and took care of me. And, you know, because Johnny's been getting his disability for quite some time. He was getting survivor's benefits from his father dying since like 2012. So he's been getting that check since then. And of course, now that I'm on disability, he keeps his disability. So, you know, we were surviving on Johnny's money, and the money Will would give me. He would split his paychecks with me. And so we were just kind of bare bones as far as bills and stuff like that. We just had enough to cover the bills and a tiny bit extra. So it was pretty grim for a lot of years. And when I finally got my disability and everything, that, you know, that was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And it helped me get my independence back, and being able to do things that I couldn't do before because the money just wasn't there. And we were, you know, just too dependent on Will, and you just didn't dare ask for anything extra because he's already, you know, working himself to death trying to make sure that we had what we needed. And so he gave up a lot, and I'm extremely grateful to him. And I know sometimes he's felt taken for granted, but he just, you know, maybe just didn't understand how grateful that I am. And I've tried to show him, you know, but when you've been through that and you've given up so much to help somebody else, sometimes it's hard to see that they really are appreciative. You know, it's not like I can just tell him every single day, hey, you know, thank you. You know, sometimes they just need to see that you feel that way. And so, you know, it's been something that we've argued about, but I think we have a better understanding of each other now. And he you know, we've been doing real good, me and him. So I would ask that he's going through a little something at the moment, that maybe y'all pray for Will, because he kind of needs prayer at the moment. Some things have happened recently that have upset him, and rightfully so. And so he just needs prayer. And of course a supportive mom. And I will be that, whatever he needs me to be. But anyhow, this is a much different video than I normally do, but hopefully y'all feel informed. And of course I showed off my paintings that so, you know, a few of you commented that you'd like to see. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I hope I haven't upset anybody, and if I did, I'm sorry. But sometimes I get on tangents and it just gets away from me. But maybe someone out there needed to hear the things I said tonight. That's what I take from this. When I get to in a sharing mood where I share more about my background and my life, then maybe other channels share about themselves. But I have to think that the good Lord put it in my mind and put it in my heart to share those things because someone else needed to hear it, and they needed to know that you know, that there is a way to get out of whatever, you know, situation you're in that's making you unhappy. So there's always a way. There's always resources out there. You just have to know where to look, and to not give up. Don't give up on yourself. You know, just don't do that, because you know, life can be wonderful. You just have to take the steps to make it happen. So, but I love y'all so much, and so does Jesus. And thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed before, subscriptions are free, and please give the video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. I'm trying to get to 3K, and I'm about 104 away. So I know there's a lot of y'all that watch that are not subscribed but keep coming back to watch, if you subscribe and hit the little bell notification, that anytime I release a video, you'll get notified instead of having to go look me up every time. And if you don't have a YouTube account, but you watch the videos, Google accounts are free. You just have to go and register and get the Gmail account, and which will enable you to sign in with YouTube, which is free. So if you have trouble doing that, email me. My email's always in the description box. If you need help creating a Google account or a Gmail account, just let me know. I'll see what I can do to help you do that, because not everybody's very tech savvy. And so just, let me know if you need help doing that. And we will find out. We'll figure it out. But take care of yourself, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye now.